Out of bed. There you go. Right. Welcome again, everybody, formally. I've been looking forward to this session. It's a session that is based around all of ours healing, whether that's individual, collective, physical, mental, spiritual, whatever else area we may find to heal. Mental, I guess, is the other one. And yeah, I've been learning healing. I learned healing way back when my dad taught me tarot, when I was about 13 years old. And the approach that we're going to take to healing tonight is going to be that same approach that I used back then, which was really straightforward. And I'll run through it with you shortly so you can kind of get an idea of how that will play out and how very, very easy it is. If some of you have done Reiki or things similar, it's like a kind of a really quick and easy version of that. And in fact, when I did go on to train in Reiki, I found myself thinking, oh, wow, this is just the same as what my dad taught me in his living room, but with a few more books to read and some symbols to employ, which is always nice. But as you may know, Reiki's not even been around that long, maybe 100 years or so. And healing goes way back, I think, to before we understood perhaps what healing was. It was perhaps a natural thing, in the same way that I talk about tarot kind of harnesses our natural connection with symbolism. I believe healing helps us connect with our natural ability to heal, to grow, to change, to create new understandings and all of those kind of things. So we're not here to, I'm not going to be touching anyone's heads and having you fall back on the floor. That's not the kind of healing we're dealing with here tonight. I certainly don't want to become like any kind of cult situation, or, you know, like in any way. Oh dear, sorry, somebody's asking, wants a passcode. Does anybody know what the passcode is for this event? Did anybody else have to enter a passcode? So I think I can reply to it on here. Sorry, bear with. Julia, are you in the WhatsApp group? Is there any chance, because my phone's upstairs, have you got the passcode or a link to the Zoom that you could post into the WhatsApp group at all?
Actually, I don't think I am in the WhatsApp group.
Oh, you should be. Everybody, if you're not in the WhatsApp group, you must send me your numbers and I'll put you in the WhatsApp group.
Okay.
Not even quite sure where that message just came from. All right, well, I'll continue onwards and hopefully she'll find her way in. So yeah, but as I was saying, we're not like doing this kind of cult-like or dogmatic healing. This is very much about healing ourselves, which I think often is just really the willingness to be healed, the willingness to grow and to evolve in new different ways. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to cure ourselves. It's not the same as curing disease or maladies or anything like that. It's more about the kind of internal shifts we need to make to understand our lives better and to become more whole, I think, is the kind of healing we are looking to do tonight. And obviously tonight is the full moon. So it's the stag moon, which is named after the deer's antlers being in full display at this time of year, which is incredible, really, when you think about deers and how they grow a set of those every year, and how absolutely marvelous they are. And I think whilst we're meditating today, it'd be really interesting, and just outside of this space as well, if you take some time to think about what your antlers are. So what have you achieved in, you know, the past year? What have you grown? What have you, and then, you know, in the same respect of antlers, you know, what have you grown? What have you learned that perhaps at some point you'd be ready to shed to move on to the next adventure as well? Because sometimes our successes and our things that we are considered to be acclaimed for, you know, they only stay around for a little bit, or we're only working on a particular part of ourselves for so long until it moves us to the next level. So definitely have a think about your antlers under this moon and what they might be considered to be. And if anybody wants to pop theirs in the chat box. If they think of anything, then please do put it there to just affirm to the group what you think your antlers are, what your successes are this year, the things that you have grown and achieved. But I love this full moon. It's a super full moon as well. So if you get sight of it, if you're not in bed first, then you will see that it's 7% bigger, I believe, than any other full moon this year, which is apparently not much to be seen to the naked eye, but I guess it will look, sometimes it just looks extra special, doesn't it? So today it will probably look just that little bit extra special. And with the full moon, one other thing is to really release some stuff, which is great when we're doing a healing evening, because I think healing kind of facilitates so much release. And it may be that you've had some thoughts leading up to this session, perhaps not purposefully, but things that have bubbled to the surface over the past weeks and months. Certainly the people who are doing the tarot month may find that has been the case through the tarot, and will be going forward, and the people who've done it before will know that too. So just allow anything that comes up for you tonight to be with you. Allow yourself to witness it and to hold space for whatever comes up. And you don't have to keep your camera on if you become emotional. And when we're doing the meditation, I always tell people to turn their cameras off anyway, just because it's nice to kind of do it in your own little space without the thought that somebody might be watching. So yes, just kind of witness anything that comes up, allow it to move through you. If it comes out as tears, perfect. If you feel like you need to make movement within your meditation, then I absolutely welcome that. I think sometimes the idea of sitting very, very still is quite a masculine little hobby. And actually it's quite nice to allow a little bit of movement. When I'm channeling the meditations, I'm moving all over the place. So whether it's wiggling or like a little bit of back and forth, but it feels like that's the way the energy wants to take me. So if the energy wants to take you in a particular direction, there's no sitting still necessary, unless of course that's what feels good for you. Okay, so I'm going to open the circle with some breathing together, just to kind of bring us into the moment. And then I have this just beautiful reading that I want to read to you. So for the new people, this is what we do every time we do one of these sessions. So hands over heart. Can I just show you my nails that my 6-year-old did for me today? A variety of absolute nonsense colors. I'm loving it. Right. So eyes closed. And we're going to take 3 lovely, luscious, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, just in a beautiful circle. And imagining yourself becoming more relaxed with each breath. And then just keeping your eyes closed for a moment, bringing yourself to stillness and just taking a moment in this place just to think a little deeper about your antlers, about your successes, about those things which you have brought to a full point. They're at their fullest now. And perhaps from this place, you can begin to let go so that you can move on to the next cycle, the next journey. And if your antlers are things you don't quite want to let go of, then you might imagine that once they do fall off, or once they shift or change, you can stick them on the fireplace and keep them as part of everything that you are. Something to show off about, something to feel proud of. And then just imagining a beautiful giant stag, resplendent under the full moon. Perhaps imagining yourself as that stag, gazing up with wonderment at the moon, and taking a moment to make a wish, set an intention, or just in your own mind kind of clarify what your next ambition is, your next hope, your next plan for who you are becoming. Just visit that in your mind for a moment. Taking one last lovely deep breath in, and then giving your arms and your body a little shake, shaking yourself back into the room with your eyes open. And I wanted to read to you now. So this book is called Gift from the Sea, which some of you may be familiar with. And if you aren't, I absolutely recommend you read it. My mum's partner gave it to me, and she's a Methodist deacon. It's not a religious book. It feels like a spiritual book. And it feels like the exploration of a female life. It doesn't feel like it is the exploration of a female life. And it was written 60, 70 years ago. And it just, I read it and it was like, God, this feels so true now. Everything about it could have been written last week. It could have been written in 2 years from now in the future. It's so poignant. And I read it in a few sittings, and it's about it's a woman who every year goes on holiday to the seaside. And I guess one year she was walking up and down the beach, and she felt herself compelled to kind of write meditations or channelings from the shells that she found. So what I did today was I just opened the book on a random page that I thought would be, I kind of said, let's see what's appropriate, a little bit of bibliomancy, and what's appropriate for the group tonight. And it's a few pages, 3 pages long, but it's well worth listening to. So please just settle down for a moment, close your eyes if you wish, and imagine you are walking the beach alongside Anne Morrow Lindbergh. And this is from a section called Channeled Whelk. And let me show you an image of what that looks like. So you might want to even imagine that you're listening to this with this whelk in your hand and observing it as you listen to the words. The shell in my hand is deserted. It once housed a whelk, a snail-like creature, and then temporarily, after the death of the first occupant, a little hermit crab who has run away, leaving his tracks behind him like a delicate vine on the sand. He ran away and left me his shell. It was once a protection to him. I turned the shell in my hand, gazing into the wide open door from which he made his exit. Had it become an encumbrance? Did he run away? Did he hope to find a better home, a better mode of living? I too have run away, I realize. I have shed the shell of my life for these few weeks of vacation. But his shell, it is simple, it is bare, it is beautiful. Small, only the size of my thumb, its architecture is perfect down to the finest detail. Its shape swelling like a pear in the center, winds in a gentle spiral to the pointed apex. Its color, dull gold, is whitened by a wash of salt from the sea. Each wall, each faint knob, each crisscross vein in its eggshell texture is as clearly defined as on the day of creation. My eye follows with delight the outer circumference of that diminutive winding staircase up which this tenant used to travel. My shell is not like this, I think. How untidy it has become. Blurred with moss, knobby with barnacles, its shape is hardly recognizable anymore. Surely it had a shape once. It has a shape still in my mind. What is the shape of my life? The shape of my life today starts with a family. I have a husband, 5 children, and a home just beyond the suburbs of New York. I have also a craft, writing, and therefore work I want to pursue. The shape of my life is, of course, determined by many other things: my background and childhood, my mind and its education, my conscience and its pressures, my heart and its desires. I want to give and take from my children and husband, to share with friends and community, to carry out my obligations to man and to the world, as a woman, as an artist, as a citizen. But I want, first of all, in fact, as an end to these other desires, to be at peace with myself. I want a singleness of eye, a purity of intention, a central core to my life that will enable me to carry out these obligations and activities as well as I can. I want, in fact, to borrow from the language of the saints, to live in grace as much of the time as possible. I'm not using this term in a strictly theological sense. By grace, I mean an inner harmony, essentially spiritual, which can be translated into outer harmony. I am seeking, perhaps, what Socrates asked for in the prayer from the Phaedrus, when he said, "May the outward and inward man be at one." I would like to achieve a state of inner spiritual grace from which I could function and give as I was meant to in the eye of God. I'm going to read that last line again. I would like to achieve a state of inner spiritual grace from which I could function and give as I was meant to in the eye of God. So that is that reading. And I think perhaps we will all, no matter what our circumstances are in life, we perhaps will identify with parts of that, if not all of it. And this desire to be in a state of grace. Oh, how beautiful, how challenging, and how, even when we find that state of grace at occasional times or moments or even seconds of it, or sometimes if we're lucky a whole week, it tends to escape us again with the kind of ramshackle nature of life. So I just thought I would, when I came across that and opened the book on that page, it was just like, wow, okay. I just look, she says it so well. And maybe this is what healing is about finding, even if for but a moment, that state of inner grace that allows you to cope with everything and anything else that life has to throw at you, which can be a great deal. So I wanted to really pull that idea of grace into our healing tonight as well. So no matter what it is that we think we might be wanting to heal, or that we just want to feel better physically, or we want to, kind of deal with our hormones, or we want to fix a wacky ankle, or whatever it happens to be that you come to tonight, I think the truth is that we would just all like to live in that state of grace, and how beautiful that would be. And we all have, I'm sure, our individual and unique ways of finding it. So I mean, looking across you all, I know that you all have things that you do, whether it's your spiritual practices, your work, art, yoga, writing, kind of all the different things that we do to embody grace. It would be lovely, wouldn't it, to carry that out across all things. And I think also slightly unrealistic, unless we're to kind of go via, a monk on a Himalayan mountain somewhere. But then I think we'd miss the crazy, wouldn't we? But fostering a sense of grace is definitely something we can work on. On my spiritual path, I have certainly found myself more grace-filled by a long shot than I used to be. Not entirely every moment, by a long way. But getting there, calamity by calamity. So shortly we're going to move into the meditation, and before we do, I will just give you a kind of quick lesson in healing and how we're going to do that. But before, I just wanted to pull a couple of cards to kind of sit with us tonight, their energy. So first up, we have the Divine Feminine deck. So we're going to pull ourselves a nice like goddess or saint. So there's all kinds of different women within this deck. A a totem really for our healing session tonight. Somebody exceptional to sit alongside us. So just giving these a good shuffle. Give them a cut. Oh, I love her. Right. So we have Mirabai, the saint of true freedom. Love is what sets me free. I am married to my own soul. So love is what sets me free. I am married to my own soul, which I adore. And I think the truest commitment that we can have in life is to ourselves, which is really unfortunate that society teaches young girls that it needs to be a partner that this energy goes towards, which can lead again to all kinds of calamity. That's not to say we shouldn't have partners, of course we should, but that love needs to be for ourselves first, and that commitment and engagement and marriage is to ourselves first. Otherwise, nothing else is really worth anything. I'll just read quickly what the book actually says about her. With me while I find her. She's proving to be difficult. Okay, so she's a Bhakti poet and mystic from Rajasthan, born a princess in the 15th century, unwillingly married somebody, considered Krishna to be her true husband. Her husband's family tried to kill her several times. We all know how that feels. But her love for Krishna would save her. So that's just a little bit of her background. But when your soul selects her card, often without even realizing it, we make choices based on external expectations, on how we think other people will perceive our actions. Oh my gosh, don't we just? I found myself, that's been something that's been coming up for me this week. And I've actually been making decisions and not telling anybody about them or asking for anybody's opinion. It's so freeing. It's just the most wonderful. And I've been doing that for years anyway, but it's still really intrinsic in me to think, oh, I must run this by like my husband, or I haven't been doing. And it's epic. Anyway, I'm not there yet, but it does feel good. Anyway, ultimately, only you can know what needs to be done or said. You have this one brief life, and every second of it matters. Mirabai is about standing up for what you know is right for you, even if others will judge you for it. The fear of being persecuted can convince us not to be true to who we really are. There's a love, though, that's far larger than human constructs and cultural values. Love isn't ethical. Love isn't bound by any idea of what's socially acceptable. Love is what sets us free from the expectations that bind us. Love, in whatever way it finds us, asks us to stay loyal to our own soul. Any outside force or person who asks us to betray our most intimate relationship with the divine isn't acting out of love. For Mirabai, her true husband wasn't the one she was married to. The love that made her brave, the love that inspired her every poem and action was a divine love for Krishna. So the laws that bound her to the strict expectations of being a wife didn't actually apply to her. I'm going to use that excuse for all future marital situations. Love asks us to look at what really matters to us and at what we truly value. And love asks us to bravely defy expectations in order to be true to ourselves. Love wants us to marry our own soul. What holds me back from expressing my truth is your meditation. And again, love is what sets me free. I am married to my own soul. So big concepts. We have this concept of grace coming from the book, and then this concept of, kind of rebellious self-love, really. And it's rebellious because it goes against what we are taught and told love should be and what it should look like and how obedient it should be. Anyway, quick moonology card, seeing as we are sat on a beautiful full moon. Has anybody seen the moon yet tonight? I'm assuming it may be out. Is it out? Yeah, it's out quite early, isn't it? I'm just
saw it yesterday. Sorry, it was so bright.
Yeah, because I think the full moon is today, but I think it would have been in the morning. So I'm not sure then whether the biggest that it is would have fell last night or tonight. But anyway, so I'll have to try and sneak a peek of it. It tends to be behind the trees back there for a little while, seeing as I never seem to leave the house these days. I have to search for it at its various aspects. Right, so our Moonology card. Ooh, the energy is gaining momentum. I can sit with that. Perhaps it's just a very simple message for many of us, whatever it is you're working on, thinking of, planning, hoping to bring into existence. Very simple. The energy is gaining momentum. I like that. And it feels that way. I feel like many people have felt really stuck in mud this year. Many of my clients kind of visiting lots of ongoing traumas and difficulties and kind of keep feeling stuck, for a long time. But I do feel like we're all becoming a little bit unstuck, perhaps in some unexpected ways. So hopefully that will bode well. So one more, because I thought I want all the goddesses and all the woman magic with us tonight. So we have the Yoni Oracle cards, which people who are with me often will know these cards. If not, they are by Georgina Catling. She privately, independently printed these. They're very womb and Yoni based. We had Georgie on as a guest. So if you go look in the previous workshops, you should be able to watch that one back. Okay. So our Yoni Oracle card to take into our healing. Oh, I love this one. Can you see that? Okay. Little me Yoni. So it's two little girls kind of holding each other. I feel like there's a bit of a light shadow thing. I can't really. Anyway, if you can see it, my blinds are reflecting on it. Two sweet little girls cuddling each other, just in that way little girls do. Reminds me very much of how my daughters can be with one another before one sort of accidentally pulls the other's hair and it all descends into screaming. But there is that perfect moment of kind of just innocence and sweetness and holding each other for holding each other's sake. So I think the little me Yoni is just here to bring that soft edge to these other quite big, powerful cards we've had of grace and rebellious love. And this is actually what's it all about. It's that inner child inside of us who just wants to be loved and seen and held and understood, and whilst at this moment they're kind of embracing each other, you can imagine a few seconds after they'll be off dancing and being quite independent and running and playing and just in the moment. How can we play? How can we just be in love with life in the way that, the lucky children are before life kind of stamps you down a bit? So, and, with healing, I think there's always the inner child stuff comes up to the surface, doesn't it? Eventually and relentlessly sometimes. And sometimes you think you've kind of dealt with all the big stuff and then you just remember something teeny tiny or something that somebody once said or something that happened, which was, you can, as an adult, you can recognize it's completely minor potentially, but it's had this ongoing effect on you. So yeah, healing is forever, but I think to consciously do it as we are tonight it's powerful, isn't it? Anyway, we can't fix everything in one full moon session, but we can try our damnedest. Okay, so with the healing, there's some snorting coming from behind me. It's my dog just joined the room. Hang on. No. Helping himself to nail varnish, right? So where were we? Okay, so healing. Right, this is basically what my dad has taught me to do. I've probably told you guys, some of you guys in the group, this before, so sorry if I'm teaching you to suck eggs. But so when we go into the meditation, we'll imagine there's like a beautiful orb of light around us that's kind of connected to the divine and all that is. And we will imagine that this like a beam of light that's basically coming in through the top of our heads, moving down. I guess you can imagine it sort of touching and reaching into all your chakras if you want. Maybe even going down to the base, but then gathering again in kind of here. So like swirling around like her. I pressed the mute button. Sorry, I don't know how long you were you missed, but basically light coming in through the head. Imagine it touching on all your chakras, swirling around in your tummy. If you didn't know why, I just stood up and showed you my tummy and rubbed it, didn't I? So imagine this big swirl of energy in your stomach. And then with the healing, it's nice to imagine. I always think healing goes where your intention is. So you can have an intention. My nose hurts. Oh yeah, my intention is to heal my nose. It's so much more powerful to just put your hand there. I don't know whether the energy actually floods out down through your arms, or whether the visualization in itself is enough to channel that energy from some amazing cosmic place to your nose, for example. But either way, what we will do is we'll imagine the energy flooding around in our tummy and then coming out through our arms, through our hands, and into our etheric body, our aura, our physical body, our mind, wherever. I'll talk you through it, and you can put your hands. We'll deal with each aspect of ourselves, physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional, and collective community as well. So we'll share a bit of the healing love amongst the people who are here, and anybody who watches this back as well in the future. You are all part of this circle that is kind of timeless. So now is the time where we will begin the meditation and the healing work. So if you want to put your screens off, you are welcome to do that. Just checking my microphone's still on. And we'll just bring ourselves, I do apologize as well, I've got slightly croaky voice. I have had a little bit of a cold. But it is working. There have been days where it hasn't wanted to work, so it's showed up for today, which is good. So just beginning with the 3 breaths again that we opened the circle with, just repeating that cycle of 3 breaths to bring ourselves into togetherness. And then just return to a normal breath, whatever feels good to you, making sure that you're physically very comfortable. No need to hold any particular way of sitting. You can lay back, lay down, whatever feels really, really good, just so that you can get your body out of the way, so that you can kind of allow whatever thoughts come to mind gently. And of course, if you find your mind wandering during the meditation, that's absolutely fine. Just bring yourself back and trust that on a subconscious level, you're taking everything on board and connecting to the healing energy, even if your mind is thinking about something more mundane. So just scanning down your body, making sure there's no areas of tension. Sometimes we hold tension in the funniest of places: foreheads, scalps, shoulders, fingers, toes, knees, buttocks, stomach muscles. Just let your tummy go all nice and loose and round. And your back. And with your breath, breathe in that relaxation, that extra level of relaxation, so that you can just be in this moment, letting your body have this moment of rest without needing to go anywhere or be anything or undertake any kind of task. And then I want you to bring yourself in your imagination to the moon. You're gazing up at the moon, and maybe you're a stag or a kind of stag woman, stag hybrid, some kind of wild creature gazing up at the full moon and recognizing that perhaps you've been injured from battle, or maybe, you've been in your life. You've been in your life for so long now. And as this beautiful stag woman with her antlers and her wilderness, you very rarely get to rest because you're always kind of fleeting from one thing to the next, often in a state of flight, of motion, of action, always one ear or eye out for the predator, certain level of anxiety and intuition that kind of has you running on adrenaline and thinking, as this beautiful stag woman, how very similar that is to your human life. How very often you perhaps do not allow yourself to fully rest or to give over or to surrender to the moment. So gazing up at the most incredible bright white moon in the sky, with the darkness, the indigo black behind it. Perhaps you are stood in a clearing with trees all around you, feeling safe for once. Perhaps not having felt this safe for some time, feeling held by the woods, by the forest, by Mother Earth herself. Close to some water, perhaps, and maybe with a little fire by your side to warm you as you sit in concert and worship with the full moon. So breathing in the air, listening to the trickle of a nearby stream, or gazing at a pond, whatever source of water you have near you, with your fire warming your body, keeping you safe, keeping predators away. The earth beneath you supporting whatever growth happens within this moment. And as you gaze up at the moon, you feel almost as if it's becoming closer. It's getting bigger, it's getting brighter. And then you realize that this moon shines just for you tonight. It's here for you, it's here for your healing, it's here for your growth, your evolution. For a moment of pause, of spiritual development. And you notice that the moonlight beams down onto you, almost like stage lights. And you are lit up, but everything else around you is in darkness, and it feels perfect, cave-like, womb-like. And the light from the moon seems to form a beautiful orb, a protective orb all around you, bringing down a cosmic healing energy, something beyond what you understand or what you know, but that you trust is here to serve you, to heighten your experience of this life, to help you move into a state of grace, to experience an affinity with your totality, a commitment to self, to be in concert and joy with your own inner child. And as you sit within this orb of moonlight that has fallen around you and upon your skin, you breathe it in. And you can feel it entering in through a beam, coming in at the top of your head, in through your crown chakra. And you might imagine that it comes in through all your chakras. So it finds a way in through your third eye, through your throat, through your heart, through your solar plexus, through your sacral, in your womb space, and at the base of your spine. Your chakras open to receive all of this beautiful, holy, spiritual, sacred energy. And the energy begins to gather within your gut, within your body. Perhaps feeling the warmth of this energy, the loving divine force of it. It in no way stresses you. It feels completely perfect, like you've been here before, you've felt this before, you know how powerful and empowering and just beautiful and divine this energy is. It does not feel unfamiliar, it feels known. And it spirals around in your stomach. And in the first instance, it just gently does this, turning over and around, filling out your body, filling out your energy, your aura, your etheric being, finding its way into the crevices and creases of your mind, helping to shift and unstick any areas that perhaps have been holding you back. And you know, you don't even need to know precisely what these areas are, what they look like, what they feel like, what they sound like, but just trusting that this light is shuffling them out, shifting them away. And perhaps, as after any healing, in the coming days and weeks and months, you'll begin to find situations surfacing that allow you to really complete the healing that begins today. But in the meantime, just sitting with the possibility and the potential of this healing light working its way through all kinds of fragments of pain, of trauma, of loss, of anxiety that sit within your body right now. Just breathing into that beautiful possibility, that reality. And now, with all of this light really filling your body, really swirling around and doing its magic and continuing to do its magic throughout this meditation, I want you to imagine bringing your hands to a part of your body that perhaps you feel like needs healing. It might be that you have several areas of your physicality that could do with a boost. There may be injuries, old injuries. There may be issues with achy joints or bones, whatever. It might be hormonal, in which case you might want to put your hands over your womb space, over your yoni. It might be, you know, you need to put your hands over your heart and just ask that the healing is projected throughout your body, through your blood. You know, if there's something unknown there or something physical that's kind of undefined, then your heart can carry the healing to each and every part of your body. Headaches, you know, hands on heads, whatever is particular for you. And just choosing a spot and placing your hands there and imagining this cycle of energy coming in through your head, down into your chest, into your stomach, swirling around, gathering momentum, and then zooming out through your hands into your physicality. Let's just sit here for a moment, just trusting the healing. If you want to, you're welcome to commune with your own divine in your mind, or allowed. You all have mute on, so that would be fine, to ask for any healing that you might require for your physicality. trusting that the healing will continue to move through your physical body, even without your intention placing it there. I want you to bring your attention to your mental health, which may or may not need healing. I'm sure to a very real extent, most of us have our ups and downs, whether major or minor. And I would recommend you placing maybe one hand on your head to kind of represent the brain and the thinking that can sometimes become problematic. And another hand on your heart, because often our heart contains so much intelligence that we choose to ignore. And in placing our hands here as this wild stag-like woman beneath the moon, we are calling on our body, our mind, aspects of ourselves, our emotions also to align with one another so that we start to experience our truth. We start to understand our place in the world and to heal any unhealthy thoughts, toxic mind patterns that are perhaps dogging us at this moment, that are limiting us or holding us back. So again, underneath this incredible moon, allowing the moon to beam down this cosmic healing energy in through your head, down into your stomach, swirling around and then out through your hands into your heart and your head. And if you wish, making an intention in your mind or aloud for whatever kind of healing you feel that you need within the space of your mental well-being. Trusting that that healing will continue even without your intention or hands in that position. We'll bring ourselves now to our emotional well-being. Emotion obviously is something that tends to get repressed. And as a wild stag woman, we need to access and harness our emotions so that we really understand our truth, connect to our intuition, and really empower our place in this world, on this earth. So bring one hand to your womb space and one hand to your heart. We're creating an alignment through these hand positions of heart, womb, and mind. And just taking a moment to really imagine that energy flowing through your hands into your womb, into your heart. Or if you feel that there's anywhere else that you experience your emotions, perhaps your solar plexus or even your head or anywhere else, please do feel free to put your hand in that place and affirm to yourself in your mind or aloud anything that you wish to heal relating to your emotions right now, or anything from the past, historic, relating to events or to clarity that you'd like in the future. And imagine that energy flooding through your hands. Taking a nice deep breath to really help that energy flood through your entire system. We're going to bring the energy now into our aura, into our etheric spiritual being. So what I would like you to do is to receive the energy in through your head and in through your chakra points, but also to hold your hands outwards and imagine that you're just kind of flooding your environment, your space, your energy with the energy that's coming out through your hands. So it's coming into the orb around you, perhaps even taking it further out if you wish to, into your house, into your home, into the people who are within your home if you feel that they need it. But just allowing the energy to really create the shift and change in your space, your physical space, your aura, your energetic space, the home that you live in, the people that you abide with. And taking a moment to affirm in your head or aloud anything that you particularly wish to be healed within the space of your body, your energy, or the home within which you dwell. And then finally, as you sit beneath the moon in your moonbeams, I want you to imagine that the space that you're in is widening, or maybe even the forest is somehow opening out. And as you look around, you see your cosmic sisters, your soul friends, people who mean something in your life, all dotted around the forest, also bathing and healing beneath the moonbeams. And maybe you imagine yourself waving or howling or, kind of waving a burning branch in their direction of acknowledgement. And this can be the other cosmic sisters who are here now, the cosmic sisters who are within this space, who have left this space, or perhaps cosmic sisters of your very own who are not within this particular group, but that are your friends, your family, your loved ones, people you have known who you wish to send healing to. And so as we all sit in this community together, let's just take this moment to offer one another and other members of our tribes and our villages the opportunity to receive whatever amount of this healing that they are willing to let grow within their lives. So just sitting beneath the moon and offering the healing outward to other souls, other spirits, other friends. You may have people's names in mind and you can say them or think them, as at the same time we beam it across the Zoom meeting and the space and anybody who happens to watch this back in the future. I am sending healing and I am receiving healing. Allow yourself to sit with that, to say it, to think it. I'm sending healing and I am receiving healing. Really envisioning now the whooping and hollering of your cosmic soul sisters. And you might want to imagine yourself joining in the raucous cry of togetherness, of healing, of potential. Now taking a moment just to really gaze up at that moon one last time, thanking it for all it has brought. And as you witness the moon for the last time, you notice that the clouds are gathering around the moon and they are beginning to cover its beams. So the moon is now moving behind the clouds, and perhaps all now you can see these clouds with the moonlight behind them. So it looks really spectacular and beautiful. But your little spot of moonbeams have gathered back up and gone back into the sky, so that you are just you, feeling really contented and sleepy and ready to allow the healing to move through your body as you sleep tonight and as you go about your business tomorrow, trusting that the healing we have encountered here will continue onwards and through over the coming weeks and months, perhaps particularly leading up to the Lionsgate portal on the 8th of August, where so many things can be manifested. But for now, just howling your appreciation to the moon, waving to your sisters in their clearings, in the woods, in the forest, and then taking a beautiful deep breath. And before you open your eyes, just bringing yourself away from that forest and remembering the space that you are sat in, the room you are sat in. What are you sat on? Is it a chair? Is it a bed? Feeling your feet on the floor of your space, your home. Perhaps patting down your body, just to kind of bring the energy back down to earth a little bit, shaking off. You might want to kind of place your hands on each chakra point, just to earth them. So the top of your head, your third eye, your throat, your heart, solar plexus, your sacral, your yoni or womb, and the base of your spine. Maybe just give yourself a little hug. Nice deep breath, a little shake off, and then you can come back to the room if you wish. You can also just leave your screen off as we are closing up in a moment. I hope everybody enjoyed that. I'm feeling very zen now. So it's been really nice to have one of these sessions, because we haven't been having as many sessions lately with the holidays, but I feel like because we're having less frequent sessions, there's a whole lot more energy coming through with these ones. So please do make sure you drink plenty of water tonight and get a good night's rest if you possibly can. See what your dreams might bring. And if anybody wishes to discuss anything that came up during their meditation, then please do take it to the group. And I'll post this video up there probably tomorrow. And then people can rewatch it or post whatever you feel that you want to share. If there is anything that you want to share, you might want to go grab a piece of paper now and journal on anything that might have come up, if anything did indeed. But hopefully, we've kickstarted some healing that will carry us through for a little while, helping to shift and grow and evolve and move some energies in the right directions for us all. So thank you so much for being here. And I will see you again we'll do the next live session, will be the new moon session. And in the meantime, I'll continue posting and lots of prompts and stuff over in the group. So thank you. Thanks for being here, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Speak again soon. Bye, everyone.